Good morning, students. In the previous lecture, we studied about the various pollutants that come out of the automobile exhaust, and how those pollutants they affect the environment and the human body, and what ill effects they cause. Now, in this today's lecture, we will learn about the BS6 Indian emission norms, or they are also known as Bharat Stage 6 Indian emission norms. Now, these norms have been implemented since 2020, and in the first stage, or in the starting stage, these norms were implemented in all the metropolitan cities in India. And then this will be gradually in various stages be implemented throughout India in all the states. The basic aim of implementing the Bharat Stage 6 norms is to reduce the pollution levels from the exhaust of an automobile. Now, the first question is, what is Bharat Stage 6? Now, these are an outflow standards that bring all the necessary changes in the Indian vehicle industry as far as the toxic emissions are concerned. Now, with the implementation of these Bharat 6 stage, India will come in standard with the US, European nations, and other progressive nations throughout the globe. Now, before 2020, India were following the BS4 standards. Okay. Now, India is jumping, or they are skipping the BS5 standards, and they are jumping directly from. They have jumped directly from actually BS4 to BS6 norms. Okay, so this jump is just to come in standards with all the other progressive countries like US, European nations. Okay. Now, Bharat Stage 6 standards, they incorporate a wide rundown of innovation adjustments in the engines, and the most prominent is the installation of the onboard diagnostic system, or it is also in short terms it is known as the OBD system. Okay, so this is the prominent one that is going to change the vehicle emissions or toxic emanations from the vehicle. Now, why India? There is a need to leapfrog or to jump from BS4 directly to BS6, and they skip BS5. Okay. Now, if you look at the scenario of India, so India is a nation with the 10 most populated and polluted urban communities in the world. Okay. And this refinement is the need of the hour. The emanation, vehicular emanation, it is a noteworthy supporter of the intensifying air nature of the Indian urban cities. Emanations such as nitrous oxides, sulfur dioxide, and carbon dioxide, and the particulate matter is inflicting significant damage to the individual's well-being. In urban areas like New Delhi, the PM 2.5 level, that is the particulate matter that has 2.5 designates the size of the particulate matter. This particular matter is less than 2.5 micrometer. Okay, so PM 2.5 represents the particular matter that has the size less than 2.5 micrometer, and the level of such small particular matter is more than 6 times that is endorsed by WHO. Okay, so the level that is endorsed by WHO in Delhi, the value of PM 2.5 level or the particulate matter 2.5 level is 6 times the required level. that has been suggested by WHO according to the WHO norms. So this means such high pollution levels are there in Indian cities. So there was a big need so that to reduce these emission levels. So India decided to jump right from BS4 to BS6 norms. Now, before going ahead, if we look at the AQI index, now AQI index tells you the air quality index. It is AQI stands for air quality index, AQI. Okay. Now air quality index, it tells you the level of if the AQI range is from 0 to 50. This means the environment is good or the atmosphere is good. If it is between 51 to 100, it is satisfactory. If it is 101 to 200, it is moderately polluted. If it is between 201 to 300, it is poor. 301 to 400, it is very poor, and 401 to 500, it is severe. Now this data has been taken from airnow.gov website, and according to one of the reports by the Lancet Commission on Pollution and Health, India ranked number 1 in pollution related deaths. Okay. So this change in norms is very significant in India. Okay. So that is why India has decided to jump directly from BS4 norms to BS6 norms. Now, what these BS6 norms incorporate, if we look into the table here, so here you will see that the emission norms that were previously held by India, and how those emission norms are equivalent to the Euro norms. Now, India, the first emission norm that India took was India 2000, okay, and it was in complementary with Euro 1 norm, and it was introduced in year 2000. Then, in 2005, India incorporated the Bharat Stage 2 BS2 norms, okay, and that was in parallel with the Euro 2 norms. Then Bharat Stage 3, it was implemented in 2010. It was parallel to Euro 3. Then Bharat Stage 4, it was implemented in 2017. It was parallel to Euro 5. Now Bharat Stage 5, okay, it was parallel to Euro 5. Now India has decided to skip this. Okay. Directly, India in 2020, it implemented the Bharat Stage 6. And that is in parallel with your Euro 6 norms. So this means that by implementing Bharat Stage 6, India will come in terms of emission standards, it will come in line with all the European and US countries. Now, what is particulate matter? Okay, this particulate matter is it is mostly associated with the diesel engines. Now we can see that in India, in the past few years, number of diesel cars has increased significantly. Now this means that a lot of diesel engines are there on roads. Okay. So, and these diesel engines, they directly result in the emission of these particulate matter into the environment. Okay. Now the black smoke that comes out of the diesel engine, that black smoke is responsible for emitting this particulate matter into the environment. Now these particulate matter, it contains large portions of polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, or they are also known as PAH in short form. They are found in your engine exhaust in diesel engines. Now these include small solid primary, that is the soot particles of diameters below 40 nanometer, and their agglomerates of diameters up to 1 micrometer, as well as nucleation mode particulates consisting almost entirely of condensed liquid. Now, the prescribed standard for the annual average PM 2.5 in India is 60 micrograms per meter cube, and in the US, this value is 15 micrograms per meter cube. So there is a huge difference. In India, it is 60 micrograms per meter cube, but in the US, it is only 15 micrograms per meter cube. Now, the research has showed that with every 10 microgram per meter cube increase in this PM 2.5 levels, this increases the mortality between 3 to 26%. Mortality is the death rate. So death increases between 3 to 26%. Chances of childhood asthma increases by 16%. Chances of lung cancer increases by 36%. And heart attacks may increase by 44%. So this means this particulate matter is a big cause of ill health in humans. So there is a need to decrease the level of this particulate matter from the emissions. Now, how does the BS6 emission norms differ from BS4 emission norms? Okay. Now, in the BS6 norms, what is being introduced is first is this is the diesel particulate matter, or the filter is there. DPF is there. Now, this DPF, that is the diesel particulate filter, what it does is it has a filter that filters out the particulate matter that is coming out from the emission. Okay, so it has a filter that filters out the particulate matter from the emission of the diesel engine. And then there is a selective catalytic reducer is there, or the reduction unit is there, SCR is being introduced. Okay. In your BS6 norms, that was previously not there in your BS4 norms vehicles. Okay. Then real driving emission, or RDE, it will be introduced in India for the first time with the implementation of Bharat Stage norms. Now this RDE, it will measure the vehicle's emissions in real time conditions against the laboratory conditions. So it will be continuously monitored. That is, your vehicle's emissions will be monitored in real time. Then another introduction into this BS6 vehicles is your onboard diagnostic system, that is your OBD. Okay, and that will be made mandatory to be installed in all the vehicles. Now, this is a diagnostic system that will give information about the total working of an engine, how the engine is working, and it will also display the various, or it will record all the inputs from the various sensors that will be installed inside the vehicle at various stages. Another change that will be there is the change in the fuel. The fuel for BS6 vehicles will be different from that of the BS4 vehicles. Okay. Now, if the major change that will be there, it will be in your diesel engine. If we have a petrol engine, then the fuel, BS6 fuel for the petrol, it will not have much difference. So a BS4 vehicle can use BS6 fuel, or a BS6 fuel vehicle can use the BS4 fuel if it is a petrol engine or a petrol fuel is there. But there will be a major change in the diesel fuel, and there will be a major change in the various additions will also be there in BS6 diesel vehicles also. Okay. Now, the major change that will be there in the fuel, it will be like in BS4 previously there was a concentration of the sulfur, it was 50 parts per million, but in the BS fuel, the new fuel, it will only have sulfur as 10 parts per million. So there is a significant decrease in the content of sulfur in the BS6 diesel fuel. Further, nitrogen oxides level in BS6 grade diesel engines and petrol engines, it will be brought down by 70 and 25% respectively. So in diesel engines, the nitrous oxides level will be reduced by 70%, and in petrol engines, it will be reduced by 25%. So this is the major difference between your BS4 and BS6 vehicles. Now here you can see there's the diagram here on top, chart or table, the targets of emission. Now previously, the first table is for the petrol. So in petrol, I have already discussed that not much difference will be there. Carbon monoxide in milligrams per kilometer. In BS4 it was 1000. BS6 it will remain same. So there is nil, that is percentage decrease. Similarly, hydrocarbons also it will remain same. In nitrogen oxides, it will be reduced from previously in BS4 it was 80 milligrams per kilometer. Now it will be reduced in BS6 to 60 milligrams per kilometer. So 25% reduction will be there. And particulate matter in petrol, previously there was no limit. Now there has been a limit set on BS6. So it will be 4.5 milligrams per kilometer. That will be in petrol engines. Now if you look into the diesel engine side, carbon monoxide levels will remain same, 500 milligrams per kilometer. If you look at hydrocarbons and nitrous oxides in milligrams per kilometer, they will reduce from 300 to 170 milligrams per kilometer. So there will be a reduction in 43% of these emissions. Nitrous oxides in itself, if you look, so previously the limit in BS4 was 250 milligrams per kilometer. Now it will be decreased to 80 milligrams per kilometer. So 68% reduction. And the particulate matter that was previously in BS4 was 25 milligrams per kilometer. It will be reduced to 4.5 milligrams per kilometer. 82% of reduction is targeted in diesel emissions. So if we look at the sulfur content, and this another table is there, BS4 versus BS6. So if you look at the sulfur content, that is parts per million ppm, in diesel it was previously 50, in BS6 it will be 10 only. In petrol vehicles, the BS4 it was 30, now it will be 10. Okay, so there will be change in the sulfur content. Now, what will be the change that will be there? There will be two. Here you can see the diagram on the top. So this is your engine, and the exhaust is leaving the engine. It will first come into your. There will be a particulate trap is there for, or it is called the diesel particulate filter. DPF will be installed. It will have this filter system inside that will filter out all the these PM or the particulate matter from the exhaust. Then this particulate matter free exhaust, it will go into the your SCR. So this is your SCR unit, or this is known as your selective catalytic reducer or the reduction unit. Now this will what it will do is here you can see that there is a DEF is there. Okay. Now DEF stands for your diesel exhaust fluid. DEF is your diesel exhaust fluid. It is also known as your AdBlue. So this blue fuel, when you will fill your car, there will be an option to fill this DEF also. Now what DEF will be here, it will inject this fuel inside the exhaust system. Okay. Now this, what this DEF is, it is a ammonia based urea is there. So ammonia based urea, what it will do, it will react with the nitrous oxides, and it will reduce those nitrous oxides into nitrogen and water. So the harmful nitrous oxides, it will not go out through the exhaust system. Okay. So this SCR, or the selective catalytic reducer, it will reduce the nitrous oxides up to near zero levels, and what will happen is there will be a spray of ammonia based urea, or it is called the AdBlue compound or fuel inside here, and this will react with the nitrous oxides. Okay, in this diagram, we can see that after the engine, there are two additional things that are being installed in your BS6 vehicle to reduce the various pollutants. The first thing will be your the DPF is there. That is your diesel particulate filter is there. So this filters out the all the particulate matter, and then this exhaust moves into the next section, that is your SCR, or your selective catalytic reduction unit. In this, from the outside, there will be a few spray of ammonia based urea that will be sprayed inside the SCR, and this exhaust gases, they will react with this ammonia based urea, and the nitrogen oxides that have been formed in the during the combustion, those will react with this ammonia based urea, and they will be reduced to harmless nitrogen and water. Okay. Now this SCR technology can reduce the levels of NOx, that is your nitrogen oxides, by 90%. So this SCR technology will achieve the required levels of or it will be able to achieve the reduced levels of pollution from your exhaust if we implement the SCR technology in the car. Okay. Now this SCR technology, this is your SCR unit, NOx trap. This is also known as NOx trap, the SCR, because it traps the nitrogen oxides. So here at the bottom you can see the actual fitting of that will be there under your car. So the exhaust, it will first move into your, this is your diesel particulate filter, or DPF is there. After DPF, what you can see that these blue are the injectors. This is your AdBlue or diesel exhaust fluid is there. It will be injected inside the exhaust pipe. Okay. And it will be controlled with the help of the ECU. So ECU will decide that how much of this fluid will be injected, and you can see that there are different sensors at various points. Now these sensors will send the signal to the ECU, and this will tell that at various points, say this at the inlet to the DPF, how much is the level of pollution or pollutants is there. Then after the DPF, what is the level of pollutants? Okay, so before this enters the SCR or the NOx trap, what is the pollution level, and when it comes out of the NOx trap, what is the pollution level. So all the information will be given to the ECU, and accordingly the ECU will decide that how much, if the NOx levels are under the say range, then the normal fuel will be, or this diesel fuel exhaust fluid will be injected, and if the levels are more, so this level of diesel fuel injection will be more. Okay. So this all will be automatically controlled by the ECU that will be installed inside the vehicle. After that, the big question is, will BS4 vehicles, that is the older vehicles, will be able to run on the BS6 grade fuel? Okay, so if BS6 grade fuel is there, so will the BS4 vehicles be able to run on this BS6 grade fuel? Okay. Now, if you have a petrol car, then you can relax. So BS6 fuel or petrol can run in your BS4 vehicle. Okay. But if you have a diesel car, then there is a problem, or then you need to worry, because in your BS4 diesel, sulfur content was 50 parts per million. Now in the new BS6 diesel, the sulfur content will only be 10 parts per million. Okay. Now this sulfur inside the fuel, it acts as a lubricant or a lubricating agent. Okay, and it helps to lubricate the nozzles of the injectors. Okay, so because diesel is it's a harsh or it's a heavy fluid. Okay, now if the lubricant is not there, what it will do, it will erode the surface of the material. Now if this fuel with less amount of sulfur in it, it will pass through the nozzles of your fuel injector, then what it will do, it will damage or it will wear out those fuel injectors prematurely. So if the fuel injector life is for 5 years, then might be possible that the fuel injectors will wear out in say 4 years or 3 years. So that is a problem. And this fuel, it will also cause the disruption in the flow pattern of the fuel, and this will also increase the emission levels if we use BS6 grade diesel fuel in BS4 vehicles. So this means we cannot use the BS6 grade diesel in BS4 vehicles. And similarly, the other question is, will BS6 vehicles be able to run on BS4? For petrol, again, there is no problem. We can run, but in diesel, there will be a problem, because in BS4 grade fuel, okay, we have the DPF installed, and selective catalytic reduction unit is also installed. Okay. Now the higher content of sulfur in BS4 diesel, it will increase the emissions and cause serious damage to the fuel delivery system. Okay. The first thing that will happen is, because in the BS4 fuel, the value, the parts per million of your particulate matter is very high. So what will happen is, it will choke the DPF, the diesel particulate filter, that will be installed in your BS6 vehicles. Okay. And other thing it will do is, it will increase the emission levels, and that will cause serious damage to the fuel delivery system also. Now the high amount of sulfur will also clog the fuel filter and the catalytic converter also, which will affect the fuel economy of the diesel car. So thus it is not recommended to use BS4 grade fuel in BS6 vehicles. So that is there. So we cannot use diesel, say BS6 diesel vehicle. We cannot use BS4 diesel in BS4 vehicles. We cannot use BS6 diesel. So in diesel cars there will be a problem, but in petrol cars there won't be a problem. Now, what will be the cost on the cost of the vehicles? Starting with bikes like your Honda and Suzuki, so they will be 10 to 15% expensive than the previous vehicles. And on to cars, in petrol cars there will be a rise in 2 to 3%. That is only 20 to 30,000. The cars will be costlier, petrol cars. On the other hand, diesel cars, they will be 8 to 10% costlier. That is, the price may increase from 80,000 to 1 lakh in diesel cars. So that is how implementing the new norms will increase the price of the cars. And obviously, if the cars will rise, now the cost of the diesel will also rise. The fuel will also rise because we need to, in diesels, there is a significant reduction in sulfur content. So the purification and the R&D that is required to achieve such levels of contents in a fuel, that will also increase the cost of fuel also. Okay. Now, what is the onboard diagnostic system? This system in the engine, it is also called the computer that is installed in the engine, and it will monitor the performance of almost every emission related component. Okay. So all emission related components will be monitored by this onboard diagnostic system. It uses the information from the various sensors to judge the performance of the emission controls. So mostly software will be there in the onboard diagnostic system. That software will decode the information that is coming from the your various sensors, and it will display on the monitor. Now here you can see that you can see the working of your this onboard diagnostic system. So here we will have all the sensors, that is temperature, oxygen, NOx sensor is there, your crankshaft positioning sensor, throttling sensor is there. So all the information, it will go into the ECU of the unit. ECU will get its power from the battery. Okay. And all this information will be displayed on this information cluster, or your dashboard is there. Okay. Then this information is passed on to the onboard diagnostic system. That will be recorded in your this diagnostic link connector. Okay. So from the ECU, then this information will be passed to the various systems that are installed on the vehicle. That is your fuel injection system, throttle system, ignition system, your EGR, that is your exhaust gas recirculator system is there, and your exhaust system is there. Okay. So all these things will be connected with the ECU, that is the computer, electronic control unit of the car. Okay. Now, when there is any malfunction, this indicator light, check engine light will go on, and it will tell that there is some problem with your there is some problem with your with your emission system. Okay, so some of the sensor, it is recording the levels of emission more than the desired. Okay, so warning light will come up, and then we can check that information from by plugging into this DLC, that is the diagnostic link controller, and we will come up with the information that where the problem will be. So this onboard diagnostic system will automatically diagnose the problem, and it will tell the your service provider or the service engineer that there is a problem with such and such sensor or such and such part of the vehicle. Okay, and that onboard diagnostic system, it will help in finding out or diagnosing the problem immediately. Okay. So that is the advantage of using onboard diagnostic system. Now, what all sensors or what is being monitored by this OBD? So it will monitor the catalytic efficiency, that is the catalyst that we are adding. What is the efficiency of that catalyst? Secondary air, exhaust gas recirculator, cold start strategies, air metering system, hybrid system, misfire detection, fuel system, crankcase ventilation system, variable valve timing, transmission controls, engine speed and angles, evaporative system, exhaust gas sensors, engine cooling system, direct ozone reduction, forced air systems. So all the systems that are associated with the vehicle, all these information will pass on to the onboard diagnostic system. Okay. So if there is problem in any of the part, it will directly switch on the light, and by plugging into your DLC, we can come out that where the problem lies, and we can directly diagnose that problem. Okay, and remove and take the corrective actions as desired. So why is OBD needed? Maintain the emission control system in use, because with time this every system, it deteriorates, okay, with age. And oldest, that is your, this is the output, that is that oldest 20% of the vehicles cause 60% of the pollution. So the more the older is your vehicle, the more pollution it will generate. So it also helps the technicians to properly diagnose and repair the complex problems inside the vehicle. Okay. So time required to diagnose a problem inside the automobile, that will be very less. So OBD will directly tell you that which part of the engine system has a problem. Okay. Now, other benefits are that it encourages the design of a durable and robust emission control system, helps keep emissions low by identifying emission controls in need of repair, provides for effective or inexpensive emission inspections, work for life of the vehicle. So all these things are the benefits that are there with the OBD system. Now, consumer costs and benefit. Early detection of the malfunction, so it prevents the secondary malfunction. Okay. And it also helps in the marginal component replacement during the warranty side. Okay, it will tell that if the component is under warranty and it needs replacement, so it will help the early detection of any malfunction and the repair required, so that the major malfunction does not take place and the cost is reduced. And it also eliminates the unnecessary repairs. Okay. So fault codes and other scan tool data gives information about the area of malfunction or the specific component and contrasts it tailpipes test simply identifies high emissions but not fault information. Repairs are often trial and error. Now, because with the onboard diagnostic system, now if you have some problem with your vehicle and you go to the repair shop, so what they will do is they will go for hit and trial method. Okay, let us check if there is problem with this part. Let us check. So the time consumed in finding the diagnose is very large, but with the OBD system, this time will be short and precise. Okay. So that is all with this lecture on Bharat Stage 6.